Right, well, let's take a look at these ratio past paper questions that I left you. Jasmine entered herself, Sophie and Bryn as a group in a talent contest. Bryn only had a minor part. Bryn, Sophie and Jasmine won the contest. They each shared the prize money in the ratio of 2 to 6 to 7, with Bryn getting the smallest share. Jasmine won £560, the largest share. How much money did Bryn and Sophie each win? So the first thing that we have to do is match the parts of the ratio with the appropriate individuals. So Bryn got the smallest share, so Bryn is going to have 2 parts of the total. Jasmine got the largest share, and we know that Jasmine won £560. So this means that Sophie has got 6 parts. So we have to work out these bits here, how much Bryn and Sophie won. So this is one where they're not giving us the total amount, they're telling us what one part or one person in this ratio is equivalent to. So Jasmine's 7 parts amounts to £560. So what we want to do is to find out how many more times bigger the 7 is, the 560 is to the 7, and that scaling will have the same effect on all the other parts as well. So if we do 560 divided by 7, we get 80. So each of these 7 parts is worth £80. That means that to maintain the balance of that ratio, these are all going to be 80 times bigger as well. So that's going to be 6 lots of 80, which is £480, and this is going to be 2 lots of 80, which is £160. So Bryn gets 160 and Sophie gets 480. Question 2. A length of cable is cut into 3 pieces in the ratio of 3 to 4 to 5. The longest piece of the cable is 35 meters in length. Calculate the lengths of the other 2 pieces. So the same approach for this question as with the previous one, in that they're not giving us the total length of the cable. They're telling us that the longest length, which is going to be 5 parts of the cable, is actually 35 meters, and what we have to do is work out that. So we do it in the same way. We work out what the multiplying factor is by doing 35 divided by 7, which is 7. So the values in this ratio are all going to be 7 times larger than they are in the original ratio. So 7 4s are 28 and 7 3s are 21. So the lengths of the other 2 pieces, one is 21 meters, one is 28 meters. Question 3. So 3a is ratio. An amount of money is shared by 3 people in the ratio of 2 to 5 to 8. What fraction of this money is given to the person who receives the smallest share? Well, the person who receives the smallest share is the person that's going to get 2 parts of it, and the number of parts we've got is 15. It's out of 15, so the ratios are going to be, the smallest share is going to be 2 out of 15, the next share is going to be 5 out of 15, and the largest share is going to be 8 out of 15. So what fraction of this money is given to the person who receives the smallest share? It's going to be 2/15. And then the part B to this isn't anything to do with ratio. We'll be covering it next week. I'll leave that for now. No, I won't. I will do it in case some of you have tried it. So percentage change can be calculated by using multipliers. A final answer is calculated as follows. £400 is increased by 26%. The increased answer is then decreased by 24%. This gives the final answer. The calculation to work out the final answer can be expressed using multipliers as the product of three numbers. Complete the statement below. So the final answer is £400, which is the original amount. So when we do this next week, what I'll be telling you is the original amount is always 100% of the value. So if it's 100% of the value and it's then being increased by 26%, then that becomes would be the original amount, which is 100, plus the 26 is 126% of the original amount. We then write that as a decimal, which is 1.26. So the first multiplier is going to be multiplied by 126. We then get a decrease of 24%. Well, if you're decreasing, your original amount is 100, but now it's being reduced by 24, which is 76%. And 76% as a decimal is 0.76. So in order to work out what the final answer is, all you would need to do is take your original amount, multiply it by 1.26 for the increase, then multiply that by 0.76 for the decrease. Don't stress about that this week. That's work that we're going to be looking at next week anyway. Question 4. Natasha, Alid and Sarah buy a computer between them. They share the cost of the computer in the ratio of 2 to 3 to 5. Natasha pays the smallest share and Sarah pays the largest fare. So Alid must be the middle share. Alid pays £195 towards buying the computer. Calculate how much the computer costs to buy. So in order to do that, first of all I need to work out how much Natasha and Sarah's shares are, and I do that by working out what the multiplier is. So I'm going to do £195, which Alid pays, divided by his 3 shares. So each part is worth 65. So Natasha is going to be paying £130 and Sarah is going to be paying £325, multiplying each of those by 65. So the cost of the computer would be the sum of the individual payments. So Natasha's £130, Alid's £195 and Sarah's £325. So the total cost of the computer is £650. Question 5. A long roll of wire is to be cut in the ratio 5 to 6 to 7. Once it has been cut, explain why you cannot have a 4/9 of the roll as a single piece of wire. Well, so we need to turn these into fractions. The total number of parts we've got there is 11 and 7 is 18. So we've got a 5/18 part. We've got a 6/18 part. And we've got a 7/18 part. Now this, if I want to turn that into 18ths, I would have to multiply top and bottom by 2. So that's 8/18ths, and you can see that no cut gives you an 8/18 part. Okay, so write each share as a fraction of the total amount and then compare that, and you'll see that you haven't got an 8/18 equivalent fraction. Question 6. Alma is mixing paint. She needs to create a colour that is a mix of yellow, blue and white in the ratio 2 to 3 to 10. She wants to make 4.5 litres of this colour paint. So this time they're giving us the total amount. Alma has enough yellow and white paint, but she needs to buy blue paint. The blue paint is sold in half-litre tins, with each tin costing £3.72. So this is a QWC question. The way you lay out your work will earn you an additional 2 marks. Calculate how much Alma will need to spend on buying the blue paint. You must show all your workings. Okay, so I've got 15 parts, and those 15 parts make up the amount of paint she needs, which is 4.5 litres. So I need to divide my 4.5 litres into 15 equal parts. So 4.5 divided by 15 is 0.3 litres. So then I can work out how much of each of these is going to be by multiplying by 0.3. So I'm going to need 0.6 litres of yellow. 0.3 times 3 is 0.9 litres of blue. And 0.3 times 10, 3 litres of white. Alma has enough yellow and white, but she needs to buy the blue paint. So she needs to buy she needs 0.9 litres of paint, of blue paint. So she needs 0.9 litres of blue paint. The blue paint comes in half-litre tins, so 2 half-litre tins will give her a litre. So she will need to buy 2 tins of blue paint. So that's going to cost her £3.72 times 2, which is £7.44. So that's how much she needs to buy. So when we're looking at, so that's how much she needs to pay. So when we're looking at an OCW question, that's all you need to do. It's not a story. You're laying out your maths in a clear and organised way. You're writing a little bit of explanation for the maths that you're doing, and you are using your units correctly. So I'm talking about litres up there, litres there, pounds there. How much of the blue paint will Alma have left over? Well, she's got a litre and she's using 0.9 litres, so 0.1 litres left. Question 7. Alfie sells 480 raffle tickets at 50p each to raise money for charity. There are 3 different raffle prizes: a bike, roller skates and a teddy bear. The bike and the roller skates were prizes donated by a local sports shop. Alfie paid £12 for the teddy bear, £14 for the raffle tickets to be printed, and £32 to print advertising costs. After paying the costs, Alfie donates any money raised from the raffle to charity. He intends to give the money to a children's charity and to the local hospice in the ratio of 13 to 17. Gary says to Alfie, ratios usually look like 2 to 3 or 5 to 4. I mean with small whole numbers, not larger numbers like 13 and 17. Alfie, can you write this in a simpler way? How can Alfie explain to Gary that he cannot write the ratio 13 to 17 in a simpler way? Well, the straightforward answer to that is because you can't divide both of those numbers by a number to make them smaller. They have no common factor which divides into them. Okay? So they have no common factor which will divide into them. And you could give an example. I'll give an example just because it might help you understand it more. E.g., let's say you had say 8 to 12. You can divide both of those by 4 and you get 2 to 3. So because you've got that common factor, you can simplify it. Part B, you will be assessed on the quality of your written communication. So this is another OCW question. Calculate how much money Alfie donates to the local hospice. So let's go back to the information that we've got. So he's going to sell 480 tickets at 50 pence each. So he's going to, if you remember when we talk about profit, I tell you to separate out the income and the outgoings. So money in will be 480 times 50 pence or 0.5 pounds. So that's going to be £240. So because he's going to sell every ticket, he's going to have £240 paid to him. But he's got some outgoings. He's going to pay for these things. So money out will be the £12 plus the £14 plus the £32, which is £58. So the profit would be the difference between what money he comes in and what money he's had to spend on the prizes and other things. So if we do 240 take away 58, we get £182. So there's a £182 profit, which he's then going to split between the charity and the hospice in that ratio. So the number of parts is 30. So each part is worth 182 divided by 30, which is that. So £6 and 7 pence. And the hospice is now, I'm going to multiply that by 17. Oh, what am I doing? So £103.19. And the question's asking you to give your answer correct to the nearest pound. Which would be £103. And because that's an instruction there, give your answer to the correct to the nearest pound. One of those 6 marks is for actually doing that. So if you ended up leaving your answer as £103.19, you would have lost a mark. And the final question. 7 friends hire a boat, the Wave, to explore where dolphins swim. It's another OCW question. The cost of hiring the Wave for a week is £2,380. 2 sponsors, Connolly Boats and Water Watch, pay part of the hire cost. The cost of hiring the Wave is shared in a ratio of 2 to 3 to 5. with Connolly Boats paying the smallest share and Water Watch paying the largest share. The 7 friends sharing the remaining cost equally. How much does Connolly Boats pay? So the total cost is 2380, and I need to share that between 10. So I've got 10 equal shares. So I'm going to do 2380 divided by 10, which is £238. So there's £238. The Connolly Boats pay 2 shares of that. So 2 times 238 is what Connolly pays, one of the sponsors. The 7 friends are going to pay £714, and just for completeness, Water Watch are going to pay 1,190. So the 7 friends pay £714 in total. But the question is asking how much do they pay each. So 714 divided by 7, which is £102 each. So there you go, that's a selection of ratio questions. They tend to come up more often than not on a numeracy paper, but there's nothing to stop, in particular those questions where they were talking about fractions, like that question 3a there, or the one with the roll of wire. There's nothing to stop them asking a question like that on a maths paper. So you need to be prepared in both situations. Usually you'd say those were sort of grade D, C questions. Nothing there that was a grade B. So hopefully you got on okay with those.